What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Sailor Turn Gamer, and we are back in the building, coming at you with another Anthem video. Today, I am giving my thoughts and reflecting on the Devstream and talking about some other things as well throughout this video. This will be a quick video today, but I'm just going to talk about my thoughts from the Devstream that was hosted by Chris Smith and Jesse Anderson, the community manager for Anthem. It was really awesome to go through the live stream. For those of you that missed it, I got a highlight video up on the channel with timestamps where you guys can catch up and get a sneak peek of some things that we can expect in update 1.0.4, because we got privy to see some of those things and it was super nice. So if that's something you guys want to check out, be sure to watch the previous video and stay here and you'll be officially up to date on the latest in Anthem. You guys know the deal. It's ranging from patch notes to news and updates, community Q&A roundups, educational videos. We got a whole lot of that stuff. If you guys want to stay up to date on Anthem, this is the place to be. So, without further ado, I'm going to quickly give my thoughts. First of all, before we even get started, I want to say thank you to Jesse and Chris. My opinion on the stream is that it was one of the best streams that we've had up to date so far. I mean, you guys got to keep in mind that the game hasn't even been out 2 months yet. It feels like it just because of so much gameplay that the community has put into it so far, but the game is still new. And the state of these guys doing these dev streams, they only do them every 2 weeks. So the entirety of the way these live streams are actually ran, it's still a new concept and there's still room for it to improve, and it's improving. This is why I say that this was one of the best ones I think that they've done, if not the best. It was very concise. I mean, the entire dynamic of having a community manager up there, and this time they didn't play the game. They actually had someone playing the game off stream. So that was actually nice because of the fact that they had someone playing the game off stream to focus on the gameplay and focus on showing examples of various things throughout the stream, like FOV. Yes, there will be new FOV sliders within the game in the upcoming update, so those PC players out there, you got something new and special. But the fact that they had someone playing the game off stream was really awesome, because it allowed Chris and Jesse to be able to focus on answering questions and to be able to focus on talking about those bullet points that they wanted to hit. So it kind of gave an overall more streamlined presentation, which I can say that I really appreciate that. Something else that I thought was actually very interesting as well to go along with that is that it just, the overall focus on answering questions was a lot clearer. Now, we're still in the position where when they do answer questions, obviously, as transparent as they want to be, I still get the feeling that they're being a little vague and that they're not really being specific on what type of questions the community really wants to know. But on the other end of that, I can say that I understand there are a lot of questions that the community has, and if they don't have an answer with that, I get it that they don't want to spend an hour talking about questions that they don't even have answers to. So I respect the fact that instead of that, they're willing to talk about a lot of other things that they actually are working on in the meantime, which is, it's really great on that end. So to just summarize some of the stuff that actually went through from the update and from the Devstream is the Alicia and cast system. This stuff you can find in the highlight video, but they went on and talked about the Alicia and cast system. I won't really go into depth on that right now. I'll just give my thoughts on that. So I previously did a Let's Talk talking about the Alicia and cast systems, and there is a lot of possibilities for the Alicia and cast system. If you guys have been watching my Let's Talks, you know that in my mind, I see that this game has a very high ceiling, and I think that the Alicia and cast system could be a great way to work with increasing not only customization, but educating the player, coercing the player into playing various activities. I just think that there are so many ways that the Alicia and cast system can go. And so to know that that's coming in Update 104 and to hear them talk about just where they are with the system right now is a great thing, because at the state of the game right now, it's definitely needed. So it's great to hear them talking about that. So another thing that they went on to talk about is the Forge, and I have some good thoughts on that as well. I'm happy to see that they showed us with the gameplay the activity of the Forge. It can be, and it is kind of quite cumbersome at times to be able to go to the Forge, and now to be able to activate your Forge anywhere in Tarsus with just the press of a button, having it as an access to that menu is really, really awesome. That was something that I really appreciated seeing. I wish that was something that they could have got into the initial part of the game, just to be able to ease a little bit more of the community that was there originally, because now there's no loading screens when you get into the Forge. So just that one step is great. And I think that is something that should be, like, no matter where you are, you should be able to activate your Forge inside of Tarsus. That's just really, really cool. That's something I would love to see in the free play as well. But based off of one of my other Let's Talks where I talked about some things that I wanted to see happen with free play, I more so want to see them take advantage of the striders that are already there. I really think that they can use those striders as, even if they have to do like a small loading screen, but I think that they should just scrap the loading docks and use the striders as base of operations within free play to allow players to do the same stuff you can do in the loading dock, but out in the free play world, and just limit it to like 4 players, because there's 4 players within the free play session. I think that would be really, really cool. I go into more depth on that as well on our Let's Talk series, but it's exciting because seeing these Forge improvements, again, all of this stuff, it's step one along of a series of many, many steps. And I still believe that probably where they're going to get this game in a place where it's going to be really, really great, and I'm happy to be along the ride. I mean, there's a lot of changes. They went on, Jesse and Chris went on to talk about that there are supposedly like a Word document that they had that was 13 pages long. I mean, 13 pages long in itself is crazy. It's crazy. So I'm expecting a lot when the patch notes release. Again, the patch, we can expect that to be out next week. Next week, they'll be giving us a better time frame. They didn't want to go into specific what day until everything was 100% ready, because they learned the lesson from the last patch. And they talked about that as well. Like, the transparency that we get from these streams are really, really amazing. I'm happy for that. They're working on loot, but as far as stronghold bosses, they still do guarantee that one masterwork for doing it on Grandmaster. But they also talked about additional loot that you can now get from stronghold bosses that will hopefully, convince players to stay throughout the entirety of stronghold missions. And speaking of that, they also made a change for, if a mission has been going on for like 15 minutes or longer, then that you're not going to be put in those when it comes down to quick play, which is awesome, because it's going to make it easier to actually get into these missions and not have to worry about, like, oh man, I'm doing harder rage, and then somebody's already at the end. Like, why would you do me like that? It's great. They showed off the legendary missions. I love that. I think there's a lot of potential to continue to allow those to grow. The only thing that I did not like about the legendary missions in itself from the one that they showed us is that the one they showed us, there are going to be no cutscenes in the beginning of a mission or in the end. They took those away. But if there's a cutscene in the middle of a mission, that is something that you still have to watch, because you can't skip. So I don't want the ability to skip. I just don't want the cutscene to be there, because if we're doing a legendary mission and you're not gonna let us watch the beginning or the end, then don't let us. Then, like, can we just not watch the cutscene at all? And the mission that they chose for us, that one never really made sense to me anyway. It was a cutscene that happened in the story. I don't really want to spoil it, but you were outside of your javelin. Something happened, and then you got into your javelin. And just, to me, I was like, well, how did that even happen? Like, how did you manage to get in your javelin with this conflict going on? But, I would wish that with the legendary missions that eventually they just completely gut the cutscenes in general from those, because they already gutted the front half and the back half. Just get rid of the middle. I mean, But I'm happy to see that they showed off the gameplay for the legendary missions. I can imagine this is going to be a great place to hop into, not only daily for those keys that are going to help in that daily rotation of a grind, but having the missions there in itself should help with loot. So that's going to be really, really amazing. They talked about a lot of miscellaneous changes and stuff, but I'm going to dive into that once we get the patch notes. There's so many changes, and just to hear a lot of good things, that excites me. The last big thing that I wanted to talk about is that they said they're doing more buffs to the javelins, which is exciting because the Ranger needs buffs. Now, I don't think the Ranger will get like a significant buff because they said it was an overall buff to all the javelins. So I'm not expecting something major for the Ranger that's going to be a game changer, but I am expecting some other incremental improvements like what they did with the last patch with the ultimate weapon damage and stuff like that. I'm expecting a general change like that that's going to help the Ranger. And lastly, they added components, or they talked about that there will be components for universals for specific weapons. And I think that helps the Ranger because the Ranger is supposed to be focused on using his weapons. And so hopefully these little changes can eventually help push the Ranger towards a good place when they actually do a specific targeted buff for the Ranger. But who knows? Maybe it can be some things there in those 13 pages of notes that we can expect. Overall, I really enjoyed the live stream. I think it's definitely getting in a better place, and I think that it's growing every day. I was on Reddit, and someone talked about there being a name, and I agree with them. This isn't my idea. I wanted to get that out there, but to get the name out there even more, Division has State of the Game for the name of their live stream that they conduct for the community. Bungie has one as well. I forget the name right now, but someone on Reddit suggested that Anthem should name their live streams, and the name that they suggested was Shaping Anthem. I agree with that name as well. Actually, Jesse Anderson, if I'm not mistaken, he actually replied to that on Reddit, and as far as saying like, oh, I think they should name it, and I think Shaping Anthem could be a great name. Because right now, I just call it a Devstream, because that's what they call it. So I think that would be really, really cool as well. Let me know what you guys think about a name for the Devstream that these guys do every couple weeks. If you guys have something outside of Shaping Anthem, I would love to hear it in the comment section below. And for anybody that made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for visiting the channel. If you guys enjoy my thoughts on the live stream, or if you guys didn't get a chance to watch the live stream, again, I am going to leave in the description a link to that Devstream video, or it's literally the previous video before this one. So check it out with timestamps. You guys can be up to date on everything that they talked about in the stream and have a better idea of what to expect next week, supposedly when we get these changes. As well as that, I have a Let's Talk series where I go into depth talking about a variety of different related topics for Anthem and giving my thoughts on things and ideas. Anything other than that, just stay tuned here for Solitaire Gamer for more Anthem coverage. Again, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the highlight video that's posted, and I hope you guys enjoy my thoughts as well. Stay here for any and everything Anthem. Until then, this sailor be out in the open ocean. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and join the fleet. Peace.